Hi, I'm Penny and you are on Open Hand Farm. Today we are under the carport and I'm going to be mixing up some planting medium to start my seedlings in. It's a recipe I found on YouTube from a fellow YouTuber by the name of Plant Abundance. I think it looks like a great plan, so we're gonna try it this year. I want you to know that I am using my garden journal. I'm using it to see what seeds need to be planted when, and I wrote the recipe that I'm going to be using in the recipe section. So I just pulled that out and we're going to look at it and then I'll put it back in. So if I really like it, we'll have it again for next year. I love this journal. If you haven't seen the video about the garden journal, I'll link it in the comments. So let's make some planting medium. So the first thing we need is 9 gallons of water. And because this is tap water, it's got chlorine and stuff like that in it. I learned from Plant Abundance, if you add vitamin C powder to your water, that will dechlorinate it. And it does not take a lot. He said about 1/4 of a teaspoon. So I'm just gonna throw that in there. I will say that if you go check his channel out, he put the coconut coir block in here first and then brought in buckets of water. But because carrying a 5-gallon bucket of water right now is not something I can do easily with having the extra weight on my foot, I went ahead and put my bucket in here, filled it, and then dumped it in. So I have my 9 gallons of water already in and I can mix it all together. The next ingredient is a surprising one. It is called hypoallergenic Eco plant-powered dish soap. We are going to use 2 tablespoons of this. The reason for using this is it will help hold the water in the cocoa coir so that it doesn't dry out. So now what we're going to add is cocoa coir. And this is the brand that I use most frequently. I get it on Amazon and I will link that below. I will also link the soap. This is a hard brick. And so what you do is you open it and put it in this water and it eventually becomes this light and fluffy medium to plant things in. This is a 10-pound brick and I'm just gonna lay it in this water, kind of push it down, get water on top of it. As you can see, the water just breaks it apart and it comes this nice fluffy substance that maintains the moisture in your plantings. It's made from the outside shell of the coconut. It's just shredded down and then compacted somehow in a brick. So I'm just gonna let this sit and we'll come back to it when it is all fluffy and no more hard spots. As you can see, this part is still dry, so I'm just gonna clear a spot and get it down in the moisture. And all of this is pretty good. The last item we need to add is 1 cubic foot of perlite. I actually bought a bag that is 4 cubic feet, so I measured the height of the bag and divided it into 4 equal parts. And so mine will be close to 1 cubic foot, maybe not exactly. I'm just gonna add it and work it in. And it does have a dust to it. So if you're working inside with this, you might wanna wear a mask. I decided to just try working in one side at a time. Now the perlite is going to help maintain the moisture as well as make the soil lighter and fluffier. So the coconut coir and the perlite together are just going to make this amazing light, fluffy planting medium. Now this is not a potting soil. It is a medium that you can plant your seeds in. If you wanted to turn this into a potting soil, you would have to add some nutrition to it. You would need to add some worm castings. and some gypsum, and that would really make a great potting soil. A good reason to use this as opposed to bagged potting soil is that you can get soil that has a gnat in it. Those gnats will spread to every soil that you have. Kind of looks like Oreo cookie crumbs with the dark chocolate and the white icing. All right, I think we are about there. Like I said earlier, this is new for me. All right, let's get it inside. So before we start potting things up, I wanted to give you an idea of what my seedling setup is like. When we moved here, this was already in place and it has worked tremendously. So we have this box. It's just like totally enclosed all the way around. It says a curtain on it, and these boxes were made to go in it. They have a little thin sheet of metal of some sort on the bottom and then wooden sides. And they were made so that 2 boxes could sit on each row. So you would slide one in and then you'd slide the other one in. You just fill those with dirt and plant the seeds, and then after the seedlings come up, you delicately pull all of the little seedlings apart. And that is what I have done the last 3 garden seasons, and it's worked great. But sometimes some of them grow too fast and their roots intertwine with each other and I have to kind of break them apart. So this year I went ahead and ordered some of these with the individual cells. I am going to plant all of my seedlings in these. I also bought the trays that they sit in to catch the water, so I don't have to worry about that. I've already started one part of a tray. This tray has parsley, which hasn't come up yet, and then I also have some artichoke, and you can see that it is coming up. I will continue to plant some of my other seedlings in here today instead of just leaving this with dirt in it. Now this is not the same soil that I have mixed up ready to use now. These just needed to be planted right away, so I used what soil I had. These are just fluorescent lights. They are not grow lights and they work great. I think I've decided that I'm gonna put my trays this direction instead of this direction. I can scoot them all the way back. I can put 3 this way and 3 here. So that's 6 of these trays. So that's quite a few seedlings. Then I have another shelf down below. You'll see that the lights are on chains and they're adjustable. This is as low as the lights go and they're right here. Now as the seedlings get bigger, I can lift the lights so that they can keep growing. Now you don't want to start though with your lights like way up here, because then your seedlings will try to get to that light and they'll get really leggy, like real skinny and long, and they won't be as strong a plant as you want. You want to start with your light fairly close to your planting tray. I went through all of the seed information pages and wrote down the dates that things needed to be planted if they were going to be planted indoors. I then wrote down the date that it needs to go outside, and then I counted a week before that date as their hardening off date. If you've never planted your own seeds, this is what you have to do. You plant the seeds according to the package's recommendations. You let them grow until they have a couple of their real leaves on them. Now when the plants germinate, they will have these little tiny leaves on them. But then as they grow, they get the real leaf shape of what that plant has, and those are their real leaves. After they get a couple of those on there, then you could transplant them into another cup or pot until it's time to put them outside. I bought these colored plastic cups from Costco 3 years ago. I drilled holes in the bottom of them with my drill. I will take the plants out of this tray. I'll fill them about this full and plant that plant in here. Then I put these in boxes and I put them on the shelves in the greenhouse. From there, they will develop even more until it's time to go out into the garden. I will tell you, my biggest problem is I do not put a label in each cup. I will put a row of cups and put a label. Sometimes these get mixed up, and sometimes I don't know what kind of tomatoes I'm planting or what kind of peppers I'm planting. It's always a surprise. Every year I say I'm going to do it properly, and I don't. The chances that I do it properly this year are not real good. So it's just the reality of things. After the time has come to harden them off, what I will do is I will take these trays of plants and I will carry them all outside of the greenhouse. I will start them off in a shady spot for a couple of hours a day. Then the next day, I will move them into a little bit sunnier spot for a couple of hours that day. The next day, we'll go 4 hours. The next day, we'll go 6 hours. The next day, we'll try going most of the day. That is how you harden off the plant. Now, when the plant is under fluorescent lights or in a greenhouse, the plant does not have the chemicals in it to have hard leaves. Once you put them outside and the sun starts really putting its rays on them, it causes a chemical reaction and the leaves actually get thicker and harder. That's what you want. You don't want to take a plant out of the greenhouse or out from under grow lights and stick it straight out in your garden, because the sun will fry them. After all that work you've done, they will be ruined. Don't forget the hardening off of your plants before you put them in the garden. I think it's time to plant some seeds. All right, let's look at my calendar. First of all, let me address this. Today is Wednesday, February the 9th. Let me just tell you that on February the 4th, I should have planted cabbages, calendula, cosmos, echinacea, kale, peppers, salvia, snapdragons, thyme, and yarrow. You guys, this is the reality. I have never planted on the date I was supposed to plant. There's always something. The day that I mixed the soil up was yesterday. Although I'm finishing the video today, I didn't even get that done yesterday. I had planned to do the whole video. Don't kick yourself if you get behind on your seed planting. It will be okay. Now we're going to play like today is the day that I needed to plant these seeds, because that's the best I can do. I am just going to pile these with soil and then rub it into the hole and rub the excess off. That's the easiest way to do it. And there you have a full tray of soil ready to be planted. And I'm just going to fill another one. I really like this soil and I can't wait to see how it works for me. Before I started this, I went through the seeds and I made a little marker for all of the seeds that I will be planting. The first one I have is a pepper. I'm just going to pull all of my pepper packages that I know I'm going to use. This one is a sweet chocolate. So let me find that package. Now, peppers, we're starting early because it takes them a long time to get big enough to put in the ground. This will give you a jump start on peppers to go in the ground when it is warm outside. These are sweet chocolate peppers from Baker's Creek, and it says that our seed depth is 1/4 inch. I'm just going to take a pencil and I'm going to poke just a little like circular motion here in the very tops of that. And I will put 2 seeds in each of these. That way, if one of them does not germinate, the other one will. If both of them germinated and grew very nicely, I could divide them when I take them out of this tray before I put them in my bigger cups. Because I am starting some for a friend, and I always like to have extras on hand for other friends, I'm going to do 2 rows of these. I'm really excited because this year I am going to bring in some compost to put in my garden. I'm not going to spread it over the whole garden. I'm going to put it in the holes before I plant these seedlings. I am just going to lightly cover those seeds, kind of tap it a little bit. Pepper seeds like it to be warm when they are germinating. This is my watering spout that fits on a 2-liter bottle. It has a mist so that it does not disturb your seeds. On this side, you could take this plastic spout off and just pour out that spout. The sweet chocolate peppers. I'm going to put this here, but I need to remember that this row is also sweet chocolate peppers. So I'm going to put an arrow on this that lets me know that the row next to it is also the sweet chocolate peppers. Now I have poblano peppers. I love using poblano peppers. Last year I had several towards the end of the season that I just took off. I seeded them and I put them on the grill, pulled the blackened skin off, and put them in the freezer. And I have been using them and I love having them already done. It's been great. I want to cover them up, and that is poblano, and I'm going to water them. I'm not going to make you stay here and watch me plant all these seeds, but this is the way I will continue to plant. I will label them, I will read the seed packet to see how deep I need to put them, and I will refer to the information in my garden journal as to when I need to plant seeds, and also when I need to harden them off and when I need to put them in the ground. If you have never tried planting seeds, you will see that it's not hard as long as you have some lights to put them under, some good soil to start them in, and a container of some sort. Like I said, you do not have to use these little cells. You could use something like this that I used for 3 years that worked great, and then just break them apart after they grow. Thanks so much for watching today, and I do hope that if you haven't started a garden journal, that even if you just take a notebook with a piece of paper and a pencil and write down your ideas, write down when you're starting to plant things or when you should start to plant things, then that will help you have a more successful garden this year. If you want information on when to start seedlings, when to plant plants directly in the ground, or any information like that, you can go to your local university extension, and they have all kinds of charts. They have information like how many cabbage heads do you need to plant for each year to feed a family of 4. I mean, they have great information. Don't forget the resources that you have that are free and very helpful. Please feel free to share this. It is so much more fun to garden with your neighbors or friends, and that way some of you could plant some items, some could plant other items, and you could share the produce. So seek out people that you can work with and enjoy. Again, thanks for watching. Until next time, blessings to you and yours.